Welcome. This is Kristen Crabtree with the Lance Edwards Group. We have a special treat today. We are interviewing a new apartment champion who's here to share his story about how he closed on his first deal since working with Lance. Please help me welcome Peter Arianas.
Thank you, Kristen. Awesome. Appreciate it.
Great. We're happy to have you here. So I'm going to start by just sharing some of the factual details of his deal. So the first deal which is the one we're talking about initially, is 44-unit apartment. He didn't have previous real estate experience when he got into this. The profit strategy was a fix and flip. It's located in Ohio, and you're located in New York. I thought you were somewhere else, but anyways, we'll talk about that. How he found the deal through LoopNet. He invested, $100. Arranged the financing through the bank. The property did not need work, and he profited $36,000. Does that all sound accurate?
That's basically how everything started. Yeah, we're gonna adjust a lot of the stuff you said because it basically started exactly the way you said it. Yes.
Okay. Awesome. So let's go ahead and dive into some of the questions. So before we get started, share with me a little about your personal and professional background.
Okay. At the beginning, when we first started this, I was working in construction. I owned a window and door company. I had a team that installed windows and doors. We did some roofing, etc. The only experience I ever had in real estate was buying my first house, and then my second house, and that was it. Selling one, I hardly think that's experience. But I've always had a love for apartments, only because my mom and my dad owned a 2-family house. And I can always remember the nightmares with the tenants on the second floor. And I thought, I don't ever want to do this, ever. Although it was a good idea because my mom never worked and she always had that income. But I thought, no, not doing it.
So, okay. Yeah. So her influence was actually kind of steering you away from small apartment investing. So what got you started researching and pursuing it for yourself?
The way it began was with Lance. Lance offered. Somehow I got I can't remember if it was an email, if it was a phone call, or somebody telling me, "Hey, listen, you should listen to this. I know you like this stuff." And I started listening to some of the stuff he was saying. I'm like, "This is great. I love this. This is, The thing that attracted me to it was it was very creative. And I love that part because I thought, maybe there's a way, the way I can use what I thought was talent and pursue it. So I listened to it a little bit. I went to the website. I put some of the information down, I was writing it. And the funny thing is, before I even got involved with Lance, I tried to do a deal. Yeah, big mistake. Huge mistake, because I didn't know what I was doing, and I was trying to say things, and I thank God nothing happened, or I didn't leave a bad taste in my mouth. I just backed out when I realized I'm getting in too deep. I don't know what's going on here. So I was like, maybe I should learn more, and that's when I started looking back into the course that he had.
So what got you? Why did you wind up trying to invest in that property before Lance? Like what was it that was motivating you to look at multifamily investing?
Because Lance sells a good sell. So he basically said this, and I thought, man, if he said I could do it, I'm going to do it. And I did. So I figured I'm going to give it a shot. He's talking about this. Now, mind you, there's details. I was never a detail person. So I figured, hey, I'll work that stuff out later. And let me tell you something, those details are important. They're very important. So like I said, as I'm doing it, I kept thinking, okay, he said to do this and I tried to do it. Now, how hard could it be? I had a friend who was in real estate. I said, listen to the phone call. Let me know if I'm doing the right thing, talking to the sellers. And he's like, man, you sounded great. You didn't sound like you did know what you were doing. He goes, but there was definitely questions there. I was like, where is he going with that? So I chickened out, but thankfully, like I said, it was enough of a push that I knew this is what I wanted to do. The questions I was asking, the questions I was being asked, it was a lot more than I bargained for, but I liked it. It was still a good situation. I was happy to say, you know what, I can do this. It's the same amount of work as it would a regular one family. So I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. And when I decided, that's when I reached out to to Lance, and to the by email or whatever it was, and said, look, I want to do this. How do we do it?
Gotcha. Okay, perfect. So what are you trying to solve through real estate investing?
What am I trying to solve? I'm trying to
Mhm.
solve why I'm not rich yet. I knew the one thing I knew, okay, and this is my motivation, I guess, whatever you want to call it. The one thing I knew, there were people who were wealthy who had apartment buildings. Donald Trump, okay, the Rockefellers. So I could go down a list of people who had apartment buildings, and it wasn't just wealth. It was generational wealth, where you can own the building, put it in a trust, and it feeds your family for generations. And all I thought was, I want to do that. I like that. I think we can, if we set it up correctly. And Lance, and again, I'm going to talk about Lance because listen, he's a big part of what I did. But because of everything he said, I thought, he's going to teach this. I like it here. I can reach that goal. Let's do this. And that was the direction I wanted. I wanted to create something that would last longer than I did.
Gotcha. Okay. So, what year did you close that deal?
Now you're asking questions that you're going to catch me offhand. I don't remember. I'll be honest with you.
Okay.
I want to say it was, I want to say maybe 10 years ago, maybe a little bit longer, roughly. I couldn't tell you. I don't look back. It's one of the things about me. I don't look back. I always look forward.
So you've been working with Lance for about 10 years, roughly?
What happened? Well, we worked together for a while. Okay, for a couple of years. Life took a turn, a nasty turn. The economy tanked, and I live in Florida now. What was funny was when you said that the deal I did was in Ohio, then in New York. Well, during that time, I moved to Florida. So then it's like I finished the deal in Florida. So I started in New York, finished it here. But life takes a turn sometimes, and you don't even know it's coming. And one of the turns that it took was the economy tanked. I had been working, a job down in Florida. I was making money, and then that disappeared. And then all of a sudden we were drowning and drowning in debt, trying to, we still make money from the apartment building, but now all of a sudden it's like, how are we going to survive? And then when the wise man once told me that when money problems come in the front door, love goes out the window. And basically that's what happened. I wound up going through a divorce, and the people who have gone through the divorce know how difficult it is. Sometimes some people can go through it 1 month later, they're fine. Took me a little longer. And my thought was, okay, you know what? I'm not going to get into all the details, but it took me longer, and I stopped working with anyone. I was just trying to survive at that point. So I just kept going. Like I said, part of the deal that we did on that building helped me to survive, believe it or not, because one of the ways of payment was the guy who bought the property was going to make monthly payments to me. So because I worked that out, and thank God for those monthly payments, So, but I got away from that. I got away from working with him, and like I said, and then life takes different turns. That's all I can say. It takes different turns. I've always had that love for apartment buildings in my heart, thinking I'm going to go back to it. And in fact, now more than ever, since we decided to do this, I want to say about a year ago, I think I'm going to get back into this. I reached out to Lance, and Lance, we talked. He's a great guy. Like I said, he's like, yeah, whenever you're ready, let's do this. So we've been talking back and forth, and life gets in the way because all of a sudden I decided to run for Congress. So, I had to put that on back burner again. So I'm running for Congress. So, but that ended. So now here we are.
So do you have a specific financial goal?
Yeah. It's a lofty one. If you want me to tell it to you, I will. Okay. My goal.
It's totally up to you. I don't want to, if you're not comfortable.
Well, it's not that I'm not comfortable. It'll blow people's minds because quite frankly, I told somebody this and they looked at me and goes, you out of your mind? I go, no, it's a goal. I look at it like this. If you don't set one, you're not going to go nowhere. So like I told you, I wanted to create wealth beyond me. I want it to last beyond me. Like I want my grandchildren to enjoy it. The goal that I have in mind is to have assets worth $333 billion. Like I said, I see you hesitating. See how I started. But that's a lofty, lofty goal. But now I'm thinking, as it's really not that bad. Apartment building down in Florida, you're looking at $5 million. All right. And then some of them throughout the US, New York, they're 10, 20, $30 million, apartment buildings. So I'm like, all right, you get a couple of them, get a good management company, you can do it. It's possible. So I see how it's possible. But again, I'm at the beginning of the hill. So until we get there, we'll get there. We'll get there eventually. So, but like I said, it's lofty, but I shot for Congress. I mean, for goodness sakes, man, I never had any political background. I'm like, I'm going to go for broke, just like I did with this deal. So I'm going to do it. And let's see what happens. So
Just so you know, I believe in lofty goals too. So you may have misread my reaction. I'm
that's
down.
okay. That's okay.
Awesome.
That's all right.
So what's your ultimate dream?
Ultimate dream. Work with me. Ultimate dream is that I'm gonna own a place on a beach. Okay, haven't picked a place. I kept thinking Panama, but I don't know right now. Where there's no one around me. I have my beach house. If the weather is perfect, I want to say 11 and a half months out of the year. Sitting on a beach, enjoying life, and having the checks come in. Somebody's going to take care, have a management company, and all I have to do is check on them, once a week, once a month, whatever I decide, when the time comes, and just enjoy life the way it's supposed to be. You're doing this for a reason. This money has to come in for a reason. And then when I get to that point, I want to be able to have that. I want to have a place in the mountains. Okay. My dream, one of my real dreams lately has been, I want a house by a lake. I don't even care about the house. I care more about the boathouse. I don't even like boats, but I want a boathouse. So I figure I could get a little boat, go out there when my grandchildren are born, whenever they get born, because my kids aren't married yet. I'm like, I could tell my kids to come up, they stay at the house, go into my boathouse, get in my rowboat, go out there and go fishing with my grandchildren. That's pretty much my goal. So, and again, it's going to take some time, it's going to take some money, but that's it. Like winter time, I'll be on the beach somewhere. And then in the summertime, I'll be on the lake fishing with my grandchildren. That's pretty, and you need money for that. So you need a lot of money for that. So we'll get there.
Great. So ultimate dream is that. Are there ways that you are or were hoping that real estate investing would change your life, like outside of your ultimate dream? Is there any other ways?
Any other ways it would change? Well, ultimately, like I said, it would give me, I like the responsibility, of having a lot of assets mixed up, and again, it doesn't all just apartment buildings, but the apartment buildings I thought was a way to use that venue, that asset, that income opportunity, and do extraordinary things with it, because money's only money until you do something with it. Really doesn't do nothing but pile up, and that's no good. I don't think that's what God wants us to do. He wants us to go out and help each other. So my thought was, if I was able to set up a fund for colleges, something I could say, here's a fund that we can set up that produces, let's say, a couple $1,000s a year, because I put this money in an account, and it produces two scholarships for people who want to go to school for real estate, or want to do apartments or something related. And my thought was, you can change, in my opinion, I think you could change the world with money. I mean, there's a lot of evil, there's a lot of good. I kept thinking, like, let's take the good side. Let's see if we can set up scholarships. Let's set up ways where we can help people, learn, just like Lance does, and just go in that direction, and not just real estate. I can use what we were using with real estate and do, humanitarian projects, stuff that I have a project now that I'm working with. They have a farm. They take in animals, farm animals who are neglected, horses, pigs, donkeys, whatever. It's the greatest thing. And when I was a little kid, I went to one of those farms. I thought it was the best thing in the world. So these guys, they struggle every year. So I'm thinking, you know what? We'll start getting that money. We'll start feeding them, and they can invite more kids. And it's a great experience. So it's kind of the direction I was hoping to go into once this all takes off. And it will. It'll take off. It's starting to now. So it's getting there.
Fantastic. You shared in one of your stories so far, you shared a little bit about where you got stuck and why you went to Lance. Were there specific parts of the process where you got stuck that Lance was really able to give you guidance?
Oh, every step, every step. There, listen, from day one, like I said, my challenge was, how am I going to pay for the course? That was the first thing. Because like I said, when money problems, because that's kind of like where it started happening. It's like, okay, now how do we do this? Okay. So I thought, all right, if I could do it with the minimal amount of money, I will. First step was like, how do I get the course? So Lance worked with me. He's like, look, I know you're interested. You sound like you're legit. This is how we'll do it. And he set something up for me. So that was fantastic. Then the first step I started doing, then I tried to do some deals, and I didn't have that background, that enough experience, etc. So there was a point where I actually flew from New York to Texas, okay, to go to one of his meetings and say to him, look, man, something I'm doing isn't working. So what do I do? And I explained to him some of the things. He goes, you sound like you've got things, like you're on course, but I don't understand what's not working. So at the time, he suggested there was a mentoring class. So I said, you know what? Okay, let's do that. So I wind up doing the mentoring class. Let me tell you something. Best thing I ever did. Because now it's like, all right, I had this deal. What do I do? This is this. I did all the analogy. I mean, the analytics on it, and we put it together. And he's like, okay, it looks good, but no, I don't know this. And we'd go back and forth. Now, the one thing that again, because listen, I'm the kind of person like, look, I know I don't know anything, so I got to find somebody who knows what they're doing. The best thing I could have done was say, Lance, what do I do next? And he helped me literally every step of the way. I mean, the stupidest little things. I mean, Lance, which company should I mail a check? How do I that kind of thing? It's tiny, but and it means nothing, but it meant the world to me because I didn't have to do the work to think about it, and that's how we went forward. That whole deal went through and again, it took 6 months to do this deal. It was tough, okay, but I was determined to get this deal done, and that was it. Even Lance at one point was like, look, it's up to me. I'd back out of this deal now. And I said, Lance, I love you, buddy, but no, I put too much time into this. I'm gonna get this to the finish line. And once I got it to the finish line, I can remember him saying, he goes, I am so proud of you. I said, Lance, there comes a point in people's lives that the mentor says, okay, I'm gonna leave you alone. Let's see if you can do this. And he did. From that point forward, that's the point that changed everything, not just real estate, but my mindset was like, if I could do this, I got this. I got life. I could do anything. So that was a big, huge, huge thing. Like I said, I give him all the credit in the world with this deal. He thinks it was me. I'm like, Lance, if you weren't there, I couldn't have done it. So yeah, he was absolutely wonderful. Yeah.
Okay. So it's obvious from what you've said that knowledge was one of the obstacles that you faced in the beginning. Were there any other challenges or obstacles that you encountered?
Yeah, money, trying to get this done. Listen, I tell people I only invested $100 because really I didn't have any money. We had money. When this started to come about, that's when we started having money problems. And then all of a sudden I didn't have enough money to put food on the table, let alone try to get this deal done. But I was determined. So I learned one thing, like I can't remember what book it was. I want to say The Magic of Thinking Big. And in that book, it says, there's a saying that says, money breeds money. And in the book, it's like, no, ideas, money gets you money or something like that. And my thought was, no, you get good ideas, people with money will come help you. So when I had this deal in place, I didn't have the money to go put, a down payment or a deposit or to get information or any of that stuff. I had no way of doing it because I was strapped. I mean, literally, I didn't have 2 coins to rub together. So, but I had people who believed in me and says, okay, here, let's give you some money. Let's help you. And these are the investors. But they, like I said, once you have a good idea, the investors came, people like, hey, I heard, he told me that you were doing something. He gave you some money. You need any more, I'll help. and it came to be. Like I said, that was a tough thing. The relief of knowing that was there was wonderful. And then just like some of the other struggles of do I believe it? Do I think I can do it? Like I could tell you stories about times where I didn't think I could do it. When this building, the very first one, if you'll work with me, this little story was when we first started. I had the deal in place, contract was signed, everything was good to go. All I had to do was give a deposit. All right, I didn't have the money, so I had to borrow the money. So I wrote the check. It was written in the envelope, ready to go, stamps on it, everything's written, my paperwork, I was signed, and I had that sucker in my hands, man, and I'm holding the envelope, and I'm like, okay, man, okay. And I'm at the mailbox, and I'm like, okay, I just got to put it in now, and that's it. And so that's all I got to do. 10 minutes back and forth. Should I do it? It's not my money. It's this. What do I do? Oh my God. And finally, I'm like, no. Opened it up. I threw it in there. I said, that's it. It's done. And I was, the relief was, oh my God. But little struggles like that was ridiculous. But it was a mental struggle. And like I said, once I got past that, and there were just little steps. Once we got to the little steps, once I got to the point where Lance says, back out, and I thought, no, I struggle with the mailbox. This is easy. We can finish this now. So yeah, it was fun.
So why did you stick with it when you faced the knowledge and money and mental struggles? Why did you stick with it?
That what's funny is Lance calls me the poster child of resilience. I just knew I started this, and I just did not want to let it go. Because I kept thinking, I'm seeing progress. It's slow, but it's progress. And if I just keep pursuing it, I feel I'm going to get there. And that's what I kept thinking. I said, I'm going to get there. I'm going to get there. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. And with every obstacle, it was stressful, but I got to tell you that the mentor part of it was phenomenal, because you know what? I could go back and say, okay, here's what's going on. And everything kind of worked out. And I thought, okay, we're good. Let's take the next step. But that's what helped it along. Because one, I had the tenacity to do it, but I also knew as long as I got Lance right here next to me, helping me, I got this. I could do this, because anything I run into, he's going to help me. And that's why I said, when we got to the point, he goes, I don't know what else to tell you. But at that point, I was so committed, and I knew, I said, just this, I can finish this. I know I can finish this. And sure enough, all of a sudden, boom, phone call, this, boom, boom, that got completed, that got finished, and it was done. And when I was done, it was, oh my goodness, you want to talk about a load off your back? Woo, that was fun. That was fun. So
That's fantastic. Great story. Thank you. Especially
thanks.
The mailbox part of it. Wonderful.
Oh, that's a crazy one.
So how has investing in real estate, small apartments, lands, all of that, how has it impacted other areas of your life?
Oh my goodness. I told you there were a couple of moments, like I said, working with Lance. The one was the mailbox, obviously. It's like, look, you can't just sit around and think about it. Sometimes you just got to do it. You got to jump in. As we were the obstacles, I started to learn something about myself. Okay. This has nothing to do with apartment buildings. I just learned something about myself. I learned, you know what? You're a pretty persistent guy. You know what? You're pretty tenacious. And, and you have Lance telling you that. It's like, yeah, I am. And the more I kept going through it, the more I persistently wanted to complete it. And I found out that I'm not a person that quits. So as time went by, my thought was, okay, I'm just going to keep moving forward. I'm just going to keep doing this, and let's see where it takes me. So it took me to many places after that. One, after the deal was done, shortly after my divorce, my thought was, okay, you know what? I'll make it, because I'm tenacious. Like that crushed me, the divorce, but I'm like, okay, you're going to be okay. It's just a bump in the road, and let's move forward. And then the next thing, and I started a small company, which was we're in the real estate business, but didn't require any money. It was just an inspection business. Then I started another little business. I thought, okay, let me start building up some money. And then to the point where here I am years later, that I see something wrong with the country, and I thought, you know what? I'm gonna take everything I've learned in my life, and I'm gonna run for Congress. And that decision wasn't an easy one. It was something that I was led into. Okay. And that's a whole nother story we don't have time for, but I was led into it. And I thought, you know what? I can do this. I can do this because I believe in myself. I know I'm tenacious enough to get it done. I know once I get there, I know I can do the things to make this happen. And a lot of the stuff that I learned in the time working with Lance just was amazing, because now I use that with a lot of things that I do in my life. A lot of the things and I teach my kids, and the most importantly is my kids now see me as the example, and then I teach them to do the same thing. One of the most proudest things I have right now is my 3 kids. My daughter is, let me start with my son, my youngest. Okay, he's a twin, but he's my youngest. My son is brilliant. Okay, his goal is to become a general manager for a football team. I have no doubt he's going to do it, because the way he talks, the way he and the way he thinks, the way he takes his information, everything, puts it all together. And I thought, man, I'm so proud of that kid. And then my other son, his twin brother, all right, he is going to school to be a neurosurgeon. I'm like, that's going to take a lot. And he's like, Dad, I'm just like you. I'm just like tenacious. I'll keep fighting. And I'm thinking, wow, I taught them that, right? And then we have my daughter, my oldest. Oh, I can't tell you how proud I am of her, because she is doing things that I did at her age at a bigger scale. And she's like, Dad, well, I am your daughter. I'm like, yeah, but she's got a restaurant ready to go. Her album, wait a minute, I got to say it in the right terms. Her album drops, which means she has an album. All right. It drops, I think, in 3 weeks, where she does the music. She does the voice. She does everything. She wrote the music. She's doing that. And she's finishing college. And I'm thinking, and that's not it. She plays instruments. I'm like, and what I keep hearing all the time, like, Dad, we're your children. I'm your daughter. I'm your son. I'm thinking, I've taught them right, because I know whatever obstacles they're going to get in front of them, they're going to go, oh, I forgot to tell you, my daughter's partly deaf, mostly deaf, I should say. So I'm like, how do you go from that and not using it as an excuse for failure? She uses it as an excuse for success. And that's what I taught my kids. So everything that the apartment buildings, and again, some stuff from my life before, all of that is in me now, and I can teach my kids, and there's other kids, their friends, who come up and ask for advice, and I give them advice. So yeah, it's changed a lot. It's changed a lot of things going forward from this one deal.
Wonderful, wonderful. It's obvious that it's changed your life in a lot of ways. How was your current financial situation changed as compared to when you started, when you didn't have 2 coins thrown together?
I got money now. Back then, like I said, I can remember a point where I had 35 cents in my pocket thinking, how are we going to make this happen? How are we going to do this? But I just kept thinking, just keep moving forward and you'll be fine. Now, like I said, between the work and different investments I have, and just some of the things moving forward. Granted, the campaign, my finances took a hit, campaign wise, because I was getting people to donate, but more of it, I'm like, look, that's great, but like, people are struggling right now. The people who have money donated, the ones who didn't, I just left it. But I thought, you know what, I have the money. Let me put some of my own money, and a lot of it I did. And I thought, okay, let's do this. So again, I'm in a lot better shape than I'm in. I mean, back then, yeah, it was, again, a story you don't want to hear right now. But yeah, I'm 1,000% better now than I ever. And then again, I know I haven't touched the surface. I mean, I'm still, I'll be 50. Me and Lance will be 59 next month. We have the same birthday, and we both understand. Like, you know what? This is just the beginning. We haven't even started yet. And I look at it, I haven't even started yet. Are you kidding me? Wait till you see what else I can do. So yeah. So yeah, it's been good. We're in good shape right now. Yeah, for sure.
Excellent. What did you hope would happen that hasn't?
That's the easy one. I really thought I'd be a lot further along in real estate. I really did. I thought by now at this age, I thought for sure I'd have freaking at least 100, 200 units somewhere, whether it be one building, a couple buildings, whatever. That big detour, the divorce, because kind of all, or that was the time frame. That's kind of the time everything kind of like went downhill. Like just when I thought, and it boom, it crashed down, but it didn't matter because now, but I really thought I'd be further ahead. Like I said, I thought I'd still be married for one. I said, but financially, like I said, I thought I'd be a whole lot better off. But that's funny. No one tells you life is going to be easy. No one tells you life is gonna be so pleasant for you. No one ever told me that. And I thought, okay, so these are a couple of the bumps I had to go through. All right, no problem. I'm still young. We could do this. I got plenty of time. So yeah, it's cool.
So what's happened that surprised you?
Say again.
What's happened that surprised you?
Uh, what's happened? The fact that I'm popular, I'm really still having a hard time with that because I don't think I did anything that anybody else couldn't do. Like I've been on between the real estate because I've had some other people interview me because of real estate, and I thought, okay, like why me? I'm just a regular guy. They're like, no, dude, you did that deal, and you're a thing, and I'm like, I'm not a thing. I'm just a guy. I mean, that's all I am. Even Congress now, people are coming after me. Now we lost our bid for now. We didn't get as many votes that we needed in the election. But my thought is, okay, I'm just a regular guy. People are like, oh my God, you did so much. This, I go, I'm just a patriot, as you can see. Okay, I'm just a patriot. I'm just a guy who decided to step up. Nothing more than anyone else, I think, would do if the circumstances were right. And then that's been a huge surprise. And again, I have that built-in confidence that came from all that stuff. So hey, it is what it is. I'm surprised by a lot of things, but you know what? Some of them are good, some of them are bad. But you know what? I teach my kids, just keep looking forward. Don't worry about it. People ask me, and again, only to bring this up, people ask me how long I've been divorced. I'm like, I don't know. And I still don't know. And like, I keep thinking like, I don't remember. It's been a while, but I don't care because it's something that happened in the past, not in the future. I keep looking at stuff that I'm going to do. I keep looking at stuff. I keep looking at my goals. There's many books that are written on a positive mental attitude and self-help books, and everything says you just keep looking forward. Don't look back. Just keep looking forward. Don't worry about what's behind you. It's always going to be there. If you need to turn around, just turn around. But until then, just keep moving forward. So yeah, I think that's a huge difference in what's happened now. Sure, absolutely.
And what excites you about the future and the possibility it holds?
Ooh, what a great question. That is a wonderful question. What excites me, the future excites me. There's just so many different options. Again, I'm 59, almost 59 years old. And I keep thinking, look, I made a run at Congress. Okay. I'm getting back into real estate. I'm going back into emergency management. There's so many things, and I keep thinking there's so many possibilities. And again, some of them are financial, some of them aren't. Some are personal. Like I said, I look forward to the day where I can play with my grandchildren, and I see this happening. It's out there. I know it is. I don't want to get political, but like I said, we're in a great country. We just got to keep it great right now. The fight that we have right now in our hands, like I'm excited for that fight. If that's what I have to do, that's going to do. Listen, my parents are both Spartans. Okay. They were born in Sparta. That's my shield. I call it my Spartan shield. We the people. You see W right here, W. That's we the people shield. I called it. And that's part of our country. And I think this is where we have to, I take that part of me, that Spartan blood, so to speak. And I want to go more. And if I have to fight for our country, I will, whether it be political or otherwise. I said, but there's so many things out there like apartment buildings and housing and real estate. And there's just so much still out there that to do. It's just the attitude I have is this is going to be great. Whatever it is in front of me, whatever God puts in front of me at this point, like I'm just going to run with it. We got plenty of time. So yeah, I'm excited about that. Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff out there.
Great. And one of your strengths that you've uncovered is obviously your tenaciousness. Are there other strengths that you possess that made this endeavor possible or easier for you?
Something that happened during this endeavor with the apartment building. I never realized about myself that I have a great presence on stage. Like Lance interviewed me a few times in front of like, meetings that we had. And, most people are, you nervous? I'm like, no, I'm not. I mean, I'm just me. So they like me, great. They don't like me, they don't like me. So I basically, picked that up there and used that in my congressional. A lot of people are like, dude, you're so good on stage. I'm like, I am. They're like, where did you train? Where did you learn all this stuff? I'm thinking, Lance Edwards, wealth management. Like I didn't. It was one of those, like I was very comfortable, and a lot of had to do with some of the things that Lance had me do, and it just made me comfortable. Like I remember one interview, people coming up after the interview at one of their meetings. I forget, I don't remember what it was, but people were like, oh my God, how long have you been speaking? And I'm like, that was the first time. They're like, no, it wasn't. You were so natural at it. You did it. And I'm thinking, okay, thank you. But no, for real, that's the first time I've ever done it. My God, you sounded so good. And thinking, I'm like, wow, man, I guess that's something I didn't know I had. So, and like I said, I use it to my advantage. Like I said, with the campaign, I use it for my advantage. I was like, look at that, I can speak. I'm thinking, all right, that's another avenue. Like you were saying before, there's another avenue. I said, one person was like, you ever thought about public speaking? I go, never thought about it. They're like, you're really good at it, right? I'm like, okay, maybe I'll do that. I don't know, but the future is open, so who knows?
We'll on the flip side, what personal characteristics worked against you in the beginning?
Fear. Absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, fear. Look, you heard me, 15 minutes in front of the mailbox. Come on, to mail a letter. That was pure out and out fear. One of the deals, like I told you, I tried to do it. I look back at it now. I say, you were scared. That was fear. That was fear. Like some of the stuff, like I look back at, I'm like, absolutely without a shadow of a doubt, it was fear. I know it was. I recognize it now. And now if it ever sticks its ugly head out, oh, no. I'm not afraid anymore. I'm not afraid. You know what? You got to believe in yourself. You have to believe in yourself. And you know what? There's going to be times my kids go through it. I just give my kids enough information that they know not to be afraid. And I'll give you an example because I love stories. My son, my youngest son, we were in the backyard one day and he was young, very, very small. I taught them that you're Spartans, that blood is in you. Look at what these people were. Look at the warriors. They're not afraid. And I just taught them, I want them to know their heritage, and they're Puerto Rican as well. But like I said, they're both proud heritages. So one day we were in the back of the pool and there was a little geckos. We have little geckos in Florida and tiny little lizards, right? So there's one that was on the gate, couldn't go nowhere. He was kind of stuck. He couldn't get away. So we're like, all right. So my one son's, I said, come on, let's go touch him. Let's go touch him. And one son, now my one boy, not a fear in the world, neurosurgeon, not a fear in the world, goes right up, touches it, walks away. Like, what was that all about? And then my other boy, he's walking up and he was just like, the one who's gonna be a general manager for a football team. He's walking up and he's like, and you could see it in his face, the fear. And he's like, and I could hear under his breath, as soon as he kept repeating, I'm a Spartan. I'm a Spartan. I'm a Spartan. And he walks up and he touches it. And he's like, that wasn't that bad. I said, right. I said, fear is always bigger than what it is. And like I said, it was big because I went through it. I still do once in a while, but I went through it. Now he got past it. And I tell people now, everybody I talk to is like, look, you don't recognize fear because a lot of times it's in different shapes, forms, or sizes, and you don't even know that it's fear. But if you recognize it, you learn what it is, you get past it. Yeah, that was huge for me. Like I said, that mailbox, telling you, man, that mailbox story, 10 minutes, 15 minutes of fear, pure out and out fear. And then I decided, no, I'm not going to let this happen. Boom. All fear. I got past that quick. Thank God.
So you've shared a lot of ways that this journey has changed who you are. If you had to summarize just in a couple of sentences the ways that this process has made you a different person, what would you say?
Okay, to summarize, the easiest answer, I guess, to that question is by going through this process and taking every step and every challenge and knowing, I had someone there to help me uh, get past that challenge and somebody there who was there side by side. They talk about the horse that pulled 1,000 pounds and two horses together pulled 10,000 pounds. Through this experience and through everything that I've gone through with this building, I've learned that what, if you find someone to lock arms with, like literally lock arms with, that no matter what you got to go through, you're going to get past it. And some of the things that we went through, like I said, if I wasn't locked arms with Lance, I don't know if I would have went anywhere. But because of that, like I said, I've gotten past it, and now with a lot of things in life, like I said, with the campaign, with the businesses that I was running, as long as I knew I had somebody, sometimes it was just a friend to talk to, and just somebody who I knew I could bounce some ideas because it wasn't just me, to let that fear go. So yeah, I think it would be that would be my answer. It would be like, I've learned that, whatever I don't think I could do, find someone who does. You already have the faith and confidence to do it. Just do it.
Fantastic. You've shared some goals that you and dreams that you want to achieve in the future. You also shared with us that it's taking a little longer than you planned or hoped. So I want you to imagine yourself 5 years from now. How has your life changed?
Imagine myself 5 years from now. How will it change? You're talking about, or how? Well, I expect. Well, I can tell you right now, because things are going in a great direction. I can tell you that I will have I will have an apartment building by then, my own. So I also expect to have a lot of personal things change. Like I said, I don't expect to live here anymore. Where I'm living, I'm expecting to move into a bigger place. Just I don't know if that's the answer you're looking for, but I can tell you right now, there's a lot of things right now. I have those big goals, but the smaller goals are, I want to move closer to the water because I kind of like the water, the ocean, I'll say. Financially, I can tell you right now, I've got an app. I'm working on an app right now that looks like it's going to be a hit. Literally, I was talking to a guy today. He's like, "Yeah, you can do this. You know what? We don't have to." And I'm like, "Yep, let's do it." So we got that. Not a fear apartment building. Lance, there was a mailer that Lance sent out for an apartment building he had. They're doing this. They're going to sell it. I've been saving it because I'm like, man, I get that money. If I can round that money up now that I'm not running for Congress, I said I might be able to buy that building. I said, all right, let's sit tight. It might be gone by now for all I know, but I got it pictured on my computer. Like, all right, let's see where we are. Let's get to that point. Let's see if we hit that. Once we hit that point, we go buy that building, right? And then, like I said, I tend to juggle, a couple of different goals and ideas right now, and I'm like, okay, let's try this one. This was happening. All right, let's go. So pretty much, I see myself like still busy. People ask me if I'm going to retire. I'm like, retire? Like, what would that? How's that? I don't even know how that works. I've always had a job in a business, or two businesses, or two jobs, or whatever, some combination. So I don't sit still. So I'm thinking, all right, but like I see in 5 years, this big. I'm not going to say overwhelming, but a change, definitely a change in better situation, better finances, better assets, just all in total, it's going to be a lot better for sure. For sure. I know we're on the right track. And now I'm kind of not looking for it, but I'm ready for any obstacle that might come my way. I'm kind of preparing myself just in case. And if it doesn't, then I have that much better. So I'm good.
Fantastic. Last question. Do you have anything else you want to share? Any other advice? Anything like that?
Yeah. Again, because I know we're talking to Lance's people. The guy's got a heart of gold. He really does. I have worked with him on and off for at least 10 years. Like I said, I think it's maybe longer. He asked me to trust him, and I did. And I went forward, and a lot has happened. You've heard the stories. You heard everything I'm saying. A lot, and there's more. There's more. Listen, you guys find out my phone number. Call me. I will tell you that when you change that attitude, Lance will bring you to that precipice of, okay, I can't help you anymore. You have to do it yourself now, and you don't even know when it's going to happen. I didn't even know it happened, but when he said to me, "Look," I'd back down. I said, "No, I'm going to do it." I looked back and said, "That was it. That was the precipice." But once you get there, I don't care if it takes you a month or if it takes you 5 years. Once you get there, your life is changed. And I got to tell you something. I am happy. One of my happiest moments in my life is the experience I've had with this apartment building, with Lance Edwards, and everything that we did together. Okay, he'll work with you. He's a great, like I said, he's a great guy. I can't edify him enough. But the advice I have for the people who are listening on this is like, look, just I know fear is gonna sneak its ugly head, but you got to trust that Lance knows what he's doing. And he showed me what he's doing. He helped me with it. And I am extremely grateful for going through this whole thing with him. I don't care. I know the deal took about 7 months to do, which no deal ever does. But this particular one did. But everybody who listened in on that call, everybody learned from that. And I thought, you know what, if anything, just that alone. So I'm very excited that I work with him, and I'm thrilled to do it again. I can't wait to do it again. So
Fantastic. Thank you. With Lance Edwards, this is Kristen Crabtree. Please join us again when we interview our next department champion. If you'd like to learn how you could be our next department champion, please call our office at 281-667-3638. You're only one deal away.